I'm a staff attorney with Reprieve, a legal charity that represents any number of the victims of U.S. drone strikes in Pakistan and Yemen, in various different actions in various countries. Should also give a disclaimer on my background, or not a disclaimer, but a bit of my background is before I joined Reprieve, I was part of a Stanford research team that published a report called Living Under Drones. That looked at this question of what are the drones doing to tribal society in northwest Pakistan. And it's not just the bombardment. I think we tend to think when you hear of a drone that it struck and how many people did it kill, and that's where the analysis ends. The reality for those living in North Waziristan at the moment is that the drones are there 24 hours a day. They're constantly in the sky. There are anywhere from 1 to 6 at any given time. They don't leave, and because of the secrecy surrounding the program, for those on the ground, they don't really know when the drones are going to strike or who they're targeting. And so you can imagine, if you imagine us sitting in this room and drones hovering overhead day after day, and we're not allowed to move or go anywhere because of curfews and other restrictions that have been put on North Waziristan by the Pakistani military. You can imagine the kind of psychological damage you're doing to a population. There's not really distinction in that kind of scenario between a civilian and a quote-unquote militant. What we found was people were saying children won't go to school anymore because they're scared to leave the house. They're not sure if the drone is going to strike them if they go to school. You've got women and men who are afraid to talk to their neighbor because they're not sure if their neighbor might be the next target for the drone, or if their neighbor could potentially cause them problems. So what you're seeing, and you've also had strikes on what the professor was talking about, what are called jirgas, so the local councils that historically were dispute resolution mechanisms. There's been a major strike on a jirga that killed 40 people on March 17th, 2011. And so you're seeing much more than just bombardment, but almost a constant terrorization of the population that's further eroding the structures that were in place that, and I'm American, that we as Americans I don't think fully understood before we brought the drones in. And so the idea that the drones as are in any way going to be a solution to what's going on in the tribal areas are just, for me, a bit of fiction. The drones, and I would say the drones need to go away before you can start to really address what's going on in these societies in any sort of long-term, lasting manner.